just have a little bit of a catch up, aren't we?
Yeah.
We spoke about the summer just then, and obviously we've constantly seen loads of new people around the office now.
Who?
I don't know who they are.
New recruits?
New recruits,
New
yeah, not just
recruits.
random people, yeah.
You just said, I'm constantly seeing new people around the office now, like it's a
Yeah, they don't work though.
No, just walking around, help myself, cup of tea.
No, obviously new recruits. There's a lot going on, isn't there?
There is, yeah.
Tell us a bit about it.
There is. We've been quite aggressive on our recruitment. We've got a lot of new people, as you've already alluded to, coming into the building, and I think I mentioned to you before, we split the UK up into 4 like little mini businesses. So we've got London and the South, we've got Yorkshire North East, we've got North Western and the Midlands, each of which has a commercial director responsible for those areas, and their ultimate responsibility is to manage the brand, grow the brand, drive the revenue, make sure that the service standards are as they should be, and manage the team. And each team has its own contract management team, each area has its own graphic design team, each area has its own sales representatives, and the commercial director is responsible for making sure that the performance management of all these people is as it should be, and that they're achieving the objectives that the commercial director has agreed with me. One minute. So the commercial directors are ultimately charged with the responsibility of making sure that all the team are performing. They've agreed growth objectives with me for each region. They're all at different stages, of course, but it's their job to bring those together. And I know in London now we've just employed another area sales manager, a gentleman called Dominic Malin's joining Dean Shaw.
So Dominic Miller then?
Not Miller, no, that's Quest. Malin. He's come from somebody in the industry, and he's joined Dean's team, which is a really good positive appointment for us, and I know he's very excited to join. Joe Bailey in the Midlands is currently interviewing now for a new commercial manager to come and join her team. We've just employed Charlotte Wilson of Yorkshire North East, and she's just employed a senior graphic designer called Dejana, which is great, Dejana Paducah. I think my Oliver's going to go and work for Charlotte in the North East. We've just employed another contract manager down in London called Jake, who's worked for us for years, but he's been promoted to contract management for London South to work with Dean Shaw. And I just keep getting requests for new recruits, which is positive. But as long as they can be justified within their financial plans, then really I'm saying yes to them, and I'm giving the discretion and the responsibility to the commercial directors to make sure that it works. Business-wise for us. So no, it's exciting, it's good. This has been a model I've been wanting to put in place for years, and finally now I've got commercial directors that I consider to be highly capable individuals that can do what is a very challenging role.
Yeah, I feel like we've seen obviously continuous growth since you started ESP, but I feel like would I be right in saying this year it's really ramped up?
Yeah, it's always been a consistent trajectory of growth. ESP's always been very positive on that front. We've invested heavily over the years, but yeah, I'd say to you it's probably accelerated a bit more this year, and that's mainly because I've finally put this model in place now where there's a structure that we can add, some meat to the bones by way of dedicated R&Rs and financial objectives associated. I think moving into the commercial side of play for us has been a big step forward, which started 5-6 years ago. We're doing inordinate amounts of contracts now with housing developers, but the work that we're doing across local authorities and councils is growing very, very fast. We're securing large contracts, and as you can probably imagine, when you do one, suddenly they all seem to come. And we've had to learn, because the tender side of local authority work, we've had to add further accreditations to our portfolio. We're now part of the API, as you know, which is a bit of a barrier if you haven't got it to do local authority work. We've had to learn through the tenders, but Melissa Murray's coming, and she's heading our bid management team, and she's put a fabulous portfolio together now to make sure that we're as strong as possible in all areas, whether it be environmental, whether it be around sustainability, our carbon strategies. So you think it's all about price and products. The amount of things you have to discuss when it comes to the procurement now and justify by way of the good work that you're doing is extensive, and Melissa's been charged of that responsibility. She's looking to add to her team now. I had a call with her yesterday. I'd like to add a bid coordinator to the ranks, so that's another appointment that we'll be advertising. So it's good, but as well as that, you go into these new markets, you've got to continue to innovate, you've got to continue to add to your range. So Ben Pearce's team, which is product development technical, he's just added somebody as well to his team. So we've now got Ben, we've got Greg, we've got Finn, we've got Sophie, and he's just added now another individual who starts in 4 weeks' time, because we want to continue to add to our commercial range really, and make sure that we can deliver on all the different play types and player values that are needed to provide a truly inclusive and accessible play area, but also just to make sure it's fun, it's fascinating for kids, and every child's catered for. Mm-hmm. So there's so many different strategies going on, and we're at the Belfry, as you know, in September, where I get all these people together once a month, and we discuss progress, we agree new investments, and we get there at 9, it's finished at 5, and it's quite intense, the stuff that we go through.
The first session we had was great though.
It was, that was the first
really
one
good.
Obviously, and that was very much about setting the scene, about what the expectations were around the meeting. But the next one at the Belfry now is about what actions have we done, what have we completed, what are we doing next. A lot of requests come forward, a lot of justification in terms of this is why they want to do it, a lot of best practice being shared, because what we do in London might be very different to what we're doing in North West and North East versus Midlands. So it's good for all commercial directors to come together here and meet with our operations team, understand some of the challenges and the problems that we face, so we can iron those out, and just make sure everyone's on the same page, because it's important that we are one business and not four. And we are ultimately one brand, and our operations side of the business needs to support all of these areas. So to bring everyone together for that meeting is it's a very important day. It's a very expensive day, as you can imagine, the amount of people around the table, but it's a very productive and important one. It's good. I'm pleased.
Good.
I'm pleased.
And in terms of the growth as well, we mentioned about hiring more people in his teams. Am I right in saying that you also want to promote from within as well?
Oh, always.
And help those people who are building those teams actually go to the next position, whether they're not in that commercial director position.
My philosophy has always been to promote from within where possible, but obviously it's not always possible. So we've brought a lot of external people in because we've got too many roles to fill. But you know what I'm about. As far as I'm concerned, if you come into the business and you do a good job and you prove yourself, you will always know what your next step is. So our performance management plan is always about, right, okay, this is your job today. What does next year look like? And if you do this, then you can do that next. So there's always a carrot there for anyone who works at ESP to know what the progression's available, whether that be via position, title, remuneration, whatever. But we will agree objectives for everyone in the organisation to say that, if you are successful in achieving these over the course of this next period, then this is what will happen next for you. And that's agreed. That's agreed as part of the appraisal programme, to make sure that you know what you're doing it for. And I am a type of personality. I need to know what I'm doing it for. I need to know why. And if I've got someone sat in front of me as a line manager saying, Andrew, if you are able to achieve A, B, and C, you can have D, E, and F. I'm all over that. And I think that philosophy works. And look at Dean Shaw. He's been with me 18 years. He's now commercial director in London South. He's never been happier. But he's gone through the ranks, he's gone through the levels. If you look at Quest, even Dominic started as a junior quantity surveyor, he's now managing director at Quest. You look at Liam Cardwell, started as an apprentice electrician, he's now commercial director at Quest. I'm massive about that. I'm huge about that, because they know our business is inside out, they've learnt our way, and as long as they can match the opportunity with their commercial capability or professional capability, subject to what role it is, then the role's there for them. But we've added some fabulous external people from different businesses who will only add value and bring new thinking, new ideas, and challenge what we do. And we've seen that already with some new people that have joined the business, and that's healthy. That's really healthy, because it brings fresh eyes, and I think that's an important part of the growth plan.
So finally, now we're coming out of the summer holidays, getting sort of towards the autumn winter season, what are you hoping, what are you expecting? What's it typically like this time of year? Obviously I only joined in January, so...
Oh, you did? It feels like you've been here a long time.
Well...
For the play industry, it's always challenging in the winter, because weather dictates how productive you can be. I mean, I remember last year, it felt like it just didn't stop raining. So, you know, you're going on to, whether if it's a building site, and you're literally sinking, you can't work, and work does slow down just because it's not as productive.
Yeah.
Obviously, compared to summer, the days are shorter because it gets darker quicker. So it does slow down a bit, and we do have challenges with that, but we've got our targets. We know we can achieve those targets. They're still very healthy, and we've got a lot of house builder contracts coming up from September onwards, because we try to prioritise schools over the summer, as you know. And going into Christmas, you know, we're pretty much full between now and December, so it's about executing those projects and then building for what will be 2027. And my eyes are on that. You know, I'm frantically now doing the strategy and the planning for 2027. New appointments is just one part of the granular detail associated to that. And really, it's an exciting period for the business, and I have to work with all the external agencies. Obviously, we've got plans for you. You made a request this morning wanting more people as well, so you can do more. But you know, it's good because the reasons that you present, whether it's you or somebody else, it's all about growth. It's all about positive intention, and that's what I like. You know, planning for the future, optimistic views, positive investments. And as long as it adds up in my mind and I can connect the dots in terms of the bigger picture of where the business wants to go, then it's very rare that you will hear any type of knockback from me around those investments. It just has to make commercial sense, and if it does, and it's on you or the person who is making that request to manage up to me and make me see what it is you're seeing by way of your growth plan, and that it will be attainable in the period and the timescale that I consider to be an appropriate timescale. And there's lots coming my way at the moment, which is what I promote, and it's exciting times. I'm looking forward to it. I forgot to mention as well, Emily Lovell, housing developers, she just added to a team. We just employed another contract manager for her, who's come on board. So all sectors and all markets are thriving, and I'm expecting some good news, which I won't say yet, but I'm hoping for some good news which could be fairly significant for our short, medium and long term future over the course of the next couple of weeks. So watch this space.
Tell me off camera.
If that happens, then the investment might get fast tracked even more, and might even be a little slightly more aggressive with it, but we have to wait for that news to come through.
Okay, watch this space.
Watch this space. We will see.